Hi everybody, it's Mallory Smythe with Endow. So recently I was watching a documentary with Rachel Hollis, who wrote Girl, Wash Your Face and Girls Stop Apologizing. The documentary is of her at her live event. And at this live event, she's in a room full of women and they're doing an exercise called Stand Up for Your Sister. Everybody got a sheet of paper with questions and statements on them, and you circle the ones that apply to you, whether you've ever experienced something or felt something. You pass it down the row and up the row, and someone else stands up for you whenever that question or statement is read. In the documentary, Rachel stands up and she reads the statement, "I hate my body." And every woman in the room stood up. They were standing up for someone else, and someone else was standing up for them. Every woman had, at one point or another, felt hatred for her body. This is a tragedy. See, the world we live in and the beauty industry that we interact with every day trains us to see ourselves as fragments to be fixed, and whenever we can't fix them to a certain standard, to feel hatred that we haven't fit that standard, right? We spend all this money on wrinkle creams or changing our hair or changing our weight, and we commit crazy sacrifices for these things to try to hit a certain standard of perfection. And that standard actually doesn't even exist. Even if we could hit it, it would change. And so we're set up for failure. We're set up for hatred. I see, but the saints saw us and saw themselves in a totally different way. Our newest study is on the doctors of the church, specifically highlighting the life of St. Hildegard of Bingen. Now, you may have never heard of St. Hildegard of Bingen. I had never heard of St. Hildegard of Bingen. But as I've read more about her, I've learned that she's highly regarded in the naturopath industry for the way she treated the whole person and the work that she did in herbal medicine. See, St. Hildegard saw everything as a reflection of God's glory. She saw all of science, all of creation, and all of the being of the human person as a reflection of divine glory in God's creativity. And so that's how she cared for the person. She cared for people physically, yes. With medicine, yes. But also she cared for them emotionally and spiritually and mentally, so that they could learn to fall in love with themselves in the way that God had fallen in love with them from the very beginning of their being. So this week, I challenge you, how do you see yourself? Do you secretly and subconsciously hate parts of yourself that God created? Or do you see yourself as an entire moving, working being that reflects God's creativity in a way that the world can never understand? You may never be the perfect image that the world is calling you to be, but you are a perfect image of God's creativity. You are. And so when you look in the mirror, I invite you to bless those things about yourself that maybe you don't see as perfect. See, St. Catherine of Siena said this: "What is it that you want to change? Your hair, your face, your body? Why? God is in love with all of those things, and he might weep when they're gone." You are the perfect image of God's creativity, and so I invite you to see yourself that way. If you want to learn more about Endow, you can visit www.endowgroups.org, and you can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Endow Groups, and you can always connect with me at Mallory A. Smythe. Have a great week.